Welcome to Wasatch Weekends. I'm your host, Ben Roof. We've got a great show in store for you today, but first, a bit of local news. The race for Park City City Council is starting to heat up with people joining the race every day. But the deadline to declare your candidacy is Wednesday, June 7th, so it's coming up quick. There are 3 seats available on November's ballot. Now, on to today's show. We had our host, Maddie, who went over and spoke to Bill Humbert, the recruiter guy, about employee retention. And then Tracy Miller is going to show us a wonderful zucchini fritters recipe. But first, let's take a look at the weather.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to the show. Earlier, Maddie Evans spoke to Bill Humbert, the recruiter guy, about ways to help retain your employees. Let's go take a listen to that interview now.
If you're a business and you're struggling to maintain and retain your employees, well then I've got the recruiter guy and the expert in this space, Bill Humbert, joining me to chat about retention throughout your employees and how you can update your retention strategy. Bill, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Hey, Maddie, it's great to be here with you.
Now, you're the #1 talent recruiter because you make sure that as you're attracting all of these pieces and these elements to create people's businesses to make them better, that you're finding the best candidates to do so. Now, we're talking how compensation isn't fully the one thing that's going to retain employees. So let's talk more about it.
Sounds good. You know, retention is the last step of the sales process, and since the recruiting process or the talent attraction process mirrors the sales process perfectly, retention is part of the talent attraction process. Now, companies, when they start to lose people, they look for, what are the causes? And too often, and I say this far too often, it's kind of, the person wasn't a good fit anyway. Well, if you start hearing that more than once, then there's a problem. Maybe the managers aren't effectively interviewing and selecting the right person. So it's really important to get that part right. The other part is maybe they don't understand motivation, because people who are self-motivated are motivated in a different way than those who are externally motivated.
Now, you're speaking of motivation. As we're talking about this, there is so many different levels of motivation, but is there more than one way that companies can start to motivate their employees?
Absolutely, and a great book that I would recommend is Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us by Daniel Pink. Pick it up, it's worth it. You'll see that some employees are internally motivated or self-motivated, and then others are externally motivated. So they may be motivated by money, for example, but each person needs to be motivated in their own specific way. So you have to learn which way they're motivated and then motivate them in that direction.
Now, we just spoke of self-motivated. So if you have a self-motivated employee, how can you motivate them to be more productive and more creative in their workday?
Self-motivated professionals and, even laborers, they're the ones that are driven by recognition, positive recognition. And so if they've done something special, give them the recognition they deserve, and look for ways to give them recognition in front of other people, in front of the team. And what that may do is drive other people to work and deserve that recognition too. So communication with them is a key to their success and to your success motivating them.
I think that validation speaks milestones. And now little things that people can do like that help a lot, just for people's confidence and for people's mental health. Now, these are all great tips and tricks that people can use. But as you're going through all these different aspects of motivation, how can you motivate someone who's already highly motivated?
It's very important to communicate with your workers. And too often companies under communicate. And so communicating with them and then learning what they feel may be improved either in the process, in the service, in the product. Work with them because, that's really the foundation of lean thinking, is getting the people doing the work and finding out from them during the Kaizen process, what can we improve? Where can we get rid of waste? Managers aren't doing it, they're overseeing it. And so find out what it is that they feel can be improved and then get them involved in the process of improving it.
Now, what do you think the common denominator between motivation and employers are, and how can they kind of make that bring everything together, therefore they can increase their retention too?
So if you're training your managers, and this is really a key thing, too many managers have been promoted from a sole contributor position up to management, and then were never trained. So positive communication with your top performers is so important, and ask for their ideas, and make sure that you involve them in all of your processes. And I suggest starting all the way back in the job description to give three-month goals, 3 6-month goals, 3 9-month goals, and 3 12-month goals for that first year. Now, one of the 12-month goals should be to create a proposed set of 3, 6, 9, and 12-month goals for the next year, and then the manager and the employee will converse about that during the annual review. Just remember, a goal setting and goal achieving employee is by definition an engaged employee.
Which is something that a lot of companies forget about, because sometimes those things can be pushed to the wayside, and then it's a struggle for both employee and employer to stay on that positive, oiled train with each other to make sure that the motivation is there. Now, you have a wonderful book to help people find that perfect career path, Expect Success. Do you have any big, exciting news about it?
We had a very successful book signing at Dolly's bookstore in Park City. We also did a book signing in East Aurora, New York at the Bookworm, and that one we sold out of books. That's kind of exciting as an author. And you'll be able to see my book at the American Library Association annual conference from June 22nd to 27th. I think it's at McCormick Place in Chicago. So really excited about the love my book is receiving, and it's a great book. I received a 5-star review, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Bill, congratulations on everything taking place with your book. Now, as a recruiter, a kind of consultant for many different varieties of topics, since we've covered a lot of them in the time that you and I have had to chat. If people are looking for your services to maybe help with some of their leadership training, or to maybe have you help them find that perfect career, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Maddie, I'm easy. I'm RecruiterGuy.com, and on my homepage, there's a banner that actually includes our television interviews in it, and then other ways that I have been communicating, either through writing articles for the Corridor Business Journal or associations. So that rotating banner's got a ton of information just there, but you can go through my entire website and find different aspects of talent attraction and career search.
And then, of course, if people want to chat with you directly, that's an option through there as well.
Yes, just click on Speak with Bill, and that puts you on my calendar, and then we can talk.
Bill, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, always giving us this great information and always helping us not only maintain employees, but also to better ourselves. And that way, if we maybe know we're not in the right career, you can help us find the right one.
Thank you, Maddie. It's great to interview with you.
Make sure that you check out Bill Humbert, the recruiter guy. That way, if you have any questions, he can get them answered to help you make those next steps, whether you're a business looking to retain your employees or whether you're an employee looking to find that new career. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more of the show, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to the show. Tracy Miller of Colorful Cooking is going to show us a wonderful zucchini fritter recipe. Let's go take a look right now.
Welcome back. You're watching Colorful Cooking with Tracy Miller, and I'm Tracy. Thanks for joining us. All right, we're gonna get down and dirty in the kitchen with a pretty easy recipe. And this is a recipe that I decided to share with you because everybody asked me for it. Anytime I make it for anybody, when I'm catering, they want this recipe. And it's a vegan recipe as well. So a lot of people are really excited about that. We start off with 3 small zucchinis, and I have shredded the zucchini in my food processor. So what you do after you shred the zucchini, squeeze it out. You'll be shocked how much water there is in there. And then we're gonna put some green onions in there too, just to give it a little bit of a kick. So I took I say we do about a 1/4 cup of green onions and just slice them as small as you can. Get them going all the way. They smell really good. Green onions are spring onions, so they're of course in season right now. They're very fragrant. They're really good for you. Of course, put about a 1/4 cup. So we have 3 cups of the zucchini, a 1/4 cup of the green onion, and then what we're gonna do is put some salt and pepper. When you are seasoning your food, I don't care what it is, don't be wimpy about it. Like, be pretty generous, especially with veggies. They need salt, they need pepper, they need some good flavors. Okay, my pan is warming up, so I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil in it. And this is what I like because we're not deep fat frying them. We're not gonna get as many calories, but we're still gonna get a nice flavor. And it's nice and warm right here. So now we have our salt and pepper, we have our zucchini, we have a little bit of green onion, and I'm gonna put a little tarragon in there too. And when you're using dried herbs, just use a little bit and smush them around in your finger a little. That kind of wakes up the herb, and you can now smell the tarragon. It smells so good. And I'm gonna do a tiny, tiny pinch of nutmeg. Don't overdo that one or else you'll taste it the whole time. So typically I would put an egg in here, but I was working with some vegan customers the other day and I didn't put the egg in there, and I like it better this way. So if you feel like it's not clumping together enough, you can put an egg in, but I would say about a 1/2 cup of flour. So we're gonna get that in there. And interestingly enough, I told you to drain out all the water, but we're gonna add just a little bit of water so that that is a binder. That's gonna bind everything together. And here we go. This is when you get really messy. See how that's all coming together, and it's kind of starting to stick together too. So we're gonna make little zucchini balls out of this, and then we're gonna put them in the pan and fry them lightly on each side. So what happens, this is a real quick process actually. See how easy this is? I mean, I hope people still hire me to make them zucchini fritters because it's so easy that I wonder if you won't anymore. And now we're gonna make little balls out of it. So we'll go like this. I'm gonna bust out a whole bunch of these. They don't even have to be like that pretty. When you're putting them into your pan, you wanna hear your pan sizzle. So I'm gonna crank this up a little bit because we're gonna put a bunch of cold zucchini in a pan and try to get it to sear up. So that means the pan is not gonna be quite as hot. All right, so here we go, making these little balls. This is a fun thing to do with the kids too. And like I said, the vegans, they just really, really like this. And they're kind of hearty. So if you wanted to bring them on a picnic or when you're hiking or something like that, they're easy to transport and they'll fill you up. All of our friends who have gardens around here are about to start getting a lot of zucchini. So we'll give them this recipe. They'll give you their zucchini. You make some of these for them and everybody's happy. These don't take long, so you kind of want to keep your eye on them. If you overcook them, the zucchini will get a little bit mushy and it won't be quite as good. What happens at the perfect cooking temperature is the zucchini kind of melts. It melts in your mouth. It's so creamy and delicious. Okay, we are gonna switch it up and not make it vegan anymore because we're gonna make a little aioli for the topping of these zucchini fritters. But first, let me see if they're ready. They're sizzling. It's kind of getting hot in here. They're sizzling. Let's see. Nah, that's not crispy enough. I mean, it could be if you want to be like that, but we are gonna crisp it up just a little bit more. And look at how little olive oil I have in there. And I cook with olive oil over any heat. A lot of people say you can't cook with olive oil if the heat's too high, and olive oil will burn. But when you're making stuff like this and you're sauteing vegetables and something in the frying pan, you can use just a little bit of olive oil. See, it's not even soaked in there. So we're keeping the calories low. We're keeping the health benefits high. We are working with anti-inflammatory foods. Okay, real quick while these cook and then I flip them over, let's make an aioli for this. Aioli is super easy if you want to use some sour cream. What I do is about a quarter cup of sour cream, quarter cup of mayonnaise, a whole bunch of fresh basil, like the whole thing. And it's gonna it smells so good in here. When I was setting up, everyone's like, what's that? Somebody's like, are those mojitos? No, they're not. It's actually basil and it's just fresh. And all of this stuff is about to be harvested right now. So we're looking pretty good. I do lemon zest, and when you're gonna zest your lemon, make sure you buy an organic one if you can. Use your zester. This just gives it the lemon flavor that you really need, like so good, so fresh, so much lemon. Of course, we need a little bit of the juice. So I'm just gonna cut this bad boy, which is a nice lemon, not a lot of seeds. That's always nice. We're gonna cut this. We're gonna put some salt and pepper in there because basically, look at that juicy lemon. Yum, that's so delicious. Okay, and now I'm gonna put some salt and pepper in here. I'm gonna blend this when we go to break so you can just hear every word I'm saying right now. This is starting to sizzle up. It smells good. We're gonna flip these zucchini fritters. I think it's time. So it's about 4 minutes on each side, and then you actually just let them rest for a moment. Put some of the aioli on them if you want that, and enjoy them. If you want your aioli to be a vegan aioli, instead of using the sour cream and the mayonnaise, you can use avocado. So that would make it vegan. We're gonna have all the recipes on the website, so if you do wanna make these, and I highly suggest you do, then we will have those on the website. Thanks for joining us.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
That's all the time that we have for today's show. I'm your host, Ben Roof, and we want to thank you so much for tuning in to Wasatch Weekends. Don't forget to catch us when we come back on Friday.